Good morning, everybody. This is Morten from Inkish, still reporting here on the last day from Printing United in Orlando. I honestly think that all of us are a little bit tired. We have been busy, and there's been a lot of people here. So I'm very pleased to talk to my good friend Christoph from Printess. Good morning.
Hey, hi Morten.
I remember, because I spoke to you some years ago online during COVID, because it was about acquisitions and being there. And I remember that you wouldn't tell anything about what you and the other Christoph was about to do, but there was a Printess name on your stairs, right?
Yeah, that's what we had at first, yeah.
And everything, of course, starts with an idea and hard work, right? And then a year later or so, we met at the Label Expo of FESPA in Berlin. And that was the first time we saw the pink colors, the signature of Printess, right? Yeah. Tell me a little bit. There's a lot of things that's happened since then, right?
Yeah, definitely. So at that time we couldn't tell because we were clearly keeping the secret a little bit. So meanwhile we have our full-blown editor solution, and excuse me, my voice is completely killed by air conditioning.
Take some coffee.
Yeah, I will zip if I'm really needed. Okay, yeah, okay. Currently it's working.
Okay.
Meanwhile we have a full-blown editor solution. I think pretty exceptionary because what we did differently to what we did before and what other people are doing is really being laser focused on building only an editor solution, building it right, building it at scale for really the big guys in the industries.
I just want to add to this because just for people to understand the depth of what you're doing. If you buy a web-to-print solution today, you see a business card editor, you see some relatively, I'm not talking anything down, but relatively simple editors, right? But what you have here, when I spoke to your colleague Christoph, he was also saying to me, this is almost like a full InDesign online, right? You have the text flow, you have complex forms of text handling, you have complex forms on the design elements and all that. So this is not just a simple web to print editor, but of course tied into that ecosystem, right?
Yeah, it's. I think you discovered this, and we discovered this for 20 years. Reality always bites. So you want to build something simple, and I think it's always the target to have for the end user who's configuring something to have it deadly simple. But under the hood, you have to solve really, really complex problems, and then that's exactly what you need. You suddenly need to flow text around it, even though it's dynamic. Suddenly you need to incorporate AI to change images, and we do a lot more nowadays. So it's really, I think it's the demand for good products, which forms this, and you're right. So I think we're the only ones who built really an Adobe-grade solution, and we knew exactly where we're in our path. So this is effectively our 7th editor we are building. So we knew what we did wrong the last 7 times.
Six times. 6 times.
6 times, you're right, yeah. So, but yeah, this time we didn't cut any corners. So we built our own typography engine, which was costly. And things like this, but therefore we do output now over 15 million products a year on the platform.
Right? Yeah. But also want to add something else, and that was like when you started to really also make demos online where you had like type your type of business. And I remember I wrote a barbershop, right? And then basically with the time where generative AI was just starting to really kick off, it actually gave you flyers that you could actually sell, right? And I know that it's a little example, but I'm just saying this because basically the way I understand Printess is that you can configure it to give you only what you need from an end user perspective to actually make something that is print ready, right?
Yeah, we definitely split it also in 2 parts. So the one part is what you mentioned with an Adobe kind of solution. So it's like an InDesign, but in the browser completely, where you develop those templates made for artwork guys. And the other portion is super simple. It's like an iPhone. Nobody needs a manual for an iPhone. So that's what we call the buyer side, where you can do those things. And and you are mentioning Printess Make, which is super new this year. It's yeah, it's essentially the solution for all online printers who currently just have a PDF upload button. And clearly there are a lot of platforms out there which will bite into their revenues by not only saying, hey, you can design here for free as a customer, you can now print here as well. So clearly they get a printing machine otherwise.
So
and that's what why we made Printers Make,
So, but that is also like I remember, I think it's maybe 1.5, maybe 2 years ago, where Canva changed their business model from being only a design tool to basically also be a supplier. That is the type of changes you talk about, right? And I guess that what you're doing also, because you're as far as I can remember, your revenue comes from having a transactional payment model based on what is generated, right? So for the customers you are approaching, that is printing companies, that is online printers, that is companies that want to have a complex yet easy to use design tool, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're a white label solution, so the customer will stay at your website. Yeah. They will not drift off to a design platform and then maybe order the prints there. So that was our idea, and as you said, it's super simple and it's also fun. So everybody can test it out on our webpage, www.printers.com. So you can leave away the W's. Sorry, I'm an old guy.
You're not that old. Come on, man. No, but I mean, I think the story is pretty fascinating because, as again, you and Christoph have worked together for many years. You have done some pretty cool things in the past as well. You make a decision to do something where you don't cut any corners, and now you're here at Printing United, and suddenly this is a product that a lot of people are talking about, because this is something where it elevates the capabilities for the end users before actually going into the print studio, right? Yeah. So I think you have done a fantastic job with that, and I really honestly think that this is something a lot of people should know more about, and that's also why I said to you, I really would like to invite ourselves to Berlin so we could get a little bit more in-depth looking into what you can offer, right?
Oh, you're more than invited. We have a very nice lakeside office.
I remember you told me about that. Yeah.
So.
Last question, or second to last question here. We're now in the US. How is it? Is the Americans equally interested, or is there a huge difference between Europeans and Americans in that perspective? Or
Printing United are really dipping our toes first time in the water here in the US.
Okay, so clearly, this is the first time doing it here?
Yeah, so clearly in the past where we ran a company called Direct Smile, we had been clearly to US a lot. But this is clearly, that's our first appearing here. We love it.
It's been good for you?
Good talks, good leads. Yeah, like always, it takes time.
Of course, yeah.
We first also intentionally concentrated on the European market because, hey, first you need to really develop your business model.
Same time zone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes that helps a little bit, of course. Right?
Yeah, that's what we learned as well. So, but this time we haven't, compared to before, we have clearly an advantage. We are a pure SaaS model, so we don't have any issues. We don't need to build servers. We don't need a large service force. Yeah. So we just need people who would like to stay a little bit up longer the day. So night owls welcome. So support guys, please contact me at cs@printers.com. Yeah.
I mean, this guy is using Ingis as a marketing platform. Okay, that's okay for today. That's okay. No. So, Christoph, when you look at Printers and you see the future, obviously you're going to get more customers using the platform as it is. But where do you see the future? Will it be a platform that expands either further on the technical side as well, or?
I think we are really at a happy place. So we love our decision to really purely concentrate, being laser focused on editing and clearly very accurate output. And we will stay this way, and therefore we also win lovely partners like Infigo, who just integrated us, and a lot more. So a lot of companies out there with complete web-to-print solutions now figured out, hey, we need a little bit better editor for our solution we know what it takes to build complex applications. And they integrate us because we are not competitors. We're definitely friends of them. We love them all. Yeah. We will also in the future concentrate purely on editing. That's what I can promise.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.